All right, cool. We're all live, all good to go. So where I'm at so far is I had to do some stuff yesterday, and so I put projections up and let me make sure everything's going through. So I went ahead and made the projections, put them up, and then I had to do some things last night. So I actually haven't made any lineups, which typically I don't like entering a live show with that because then it's very much me like very much off the cuff in a situation where I typically don't like it. But we can very much use that as I guess a walkthrough of how I personally do lines and build, and not even like, oh, this is what my percentage is going to be, but we can identify how I want to look at stuff. I'm not really sure how I want to do that. If I want to show SaberSim, not showing the lines, but then I show the projections, and that's not really fair. We'll just kind of at least put this screen up. We'll figure it out as we go along. So where I'm at, as I said, or as I just said, I've made the projections, but I haven't done anything with them yet. So I've already ran them in SaberSim. I've already built lines, like so I can look at them, but I haven't entered any lines or anything like that yet today. So the first part is as we've typically always done, is at least for me, I'm very much relying on here. Also, where are you guys at this week? Has anybody made any money? Like, what a wild man, absolute wild negative ROI absolutely across the board so far this week. So like this race here, I'm like, well, fuck, I've already pissed away like $1,200 in these other races. I might as well just do whatever in this one. It doesn't really matter at this point. So for me, like with that in mind, when I'm looking at early lap leaders and potentially early lap leaders, um and everything, like I very much have Reddick, Keselowski, Busher, Gibbs, and Byron all within 5 points of each other. Um, so due to that, like that makes Gibbs, makes Busher, and makes Brad look very well or look very good. It makes Byron look ugly, and it makes Reddick look ugly. Um, Now, why would I do that or look at things like that? And so when I'm looking at like Reddick, um, I just don't think he stays up there all day. And I think that'll be the first deciding or the first big, I guess, kind of stance I have here is, he was the second best car at Las Vegas. Where I'm at, underperformed at Texas, despite the fact he did get the lead, despite the fact he led. It was very much a case to where I think he should have gotten there faster. Certainly, a lot of the restarts helped him out in that regard. But like him in traffic, he just got stuck running like third and fourth all day. When we looked at Dover, performed pretty terrible at Dover compared to where I probably expected him to do. When we looked at Kansas, you know, struggled in traffic, wasn't able to get up through the field. Had a lot of negative things, in my opinion, that he brought out of Kansas and stuff. And specifically when we look at where he's ranked here, starting first, showed decent speed in practice, which is always what you want to see. But we have pretty good guys priced right beside him, and guys that are like, in terms of where we're at. Hold on, sorry, I am playing a date right now. So where I'm at in terms of like Keselowski, Busher, and Reddick, like when you're comparing where these three guys are at, and you look at what Reddick is doing, and let's just put Reddick as like truly like the sixth best car. Let's just use that as an example. And you look at where Keselowski is. Okay, we understand where he's at, and I mean I don't use the track history. I typically don't like leaning into that, but it is nice to note, specifically at a difficult track like Darlington, and specifically in a situation where you're looking at a organization like RFK, who isn't necessarily the top dog. Seeing that Keselowski has had two good runs here last year is good to see. We understand at this point these were the anomalies. We understand that Keselowski was doing better at Kansas. We know Busher had like real speed at Kansas last weekend. And so when I'm looking at these guys here and where Busher and Keselowski could be. Like, I like Busher and Keselowski today. Now, Keselowski's, a bit a harder sell for me, only due to the fact that I have him projected for like 46 points. Whereas I can get that, I think I can get the exact same performance out of Busher. Like, I would just prioritize Busher. The fact that he fits into a lot of lineups at $7,800, like, I would probably want to have more Busher today. Where I'm at right now, Busher is probably expected to be my, let's see where we at here. Probably my third or fourth highest owned driver today, just due to the pricing that he's at. Because I assume I'm probably going to end up getting to quite a lot of Busher due to his pricing. Okay, now with that said, I don't think I'm going to play Reddick today. I really don't. I really don't. I don't think I'm going to play Reddick today, and not because it worked last weekend, not because of all that. I mean, clearly we're wanting to chase Larson, Hamlin, and Truex. Ideally, probably or realistically speaking, probably two of those guys are probably going to work in the optimal lineup. In terms of what the winning or optimal lineup should have, like we typically see, multiple lap leaders in this race, but sometimes the early lap leader ends up being pushed out, or they run into issues or whatever. Especially in this car, just because it's actually, my opinion has changed on the next gen car. The outer body isn't like it's not like an exoskeleton. Actually, it's just that the internals of the car are just absolutely horrific with how easily they break. And so, like, man, you get up against the wall here, like you just barely tap the wall and you're fucking breaking shit on the rear end. So I think that opens it up to a lot of lap leaders are in issues today, or the potential of a lot of lap leaders falling into issues today. And so, anyway, long story short, that just me reasoning, or at least explaining why, like, I'm going to be playing a lot of Larson, I'm going to be playing a lot of Hamlin, I'm going to be playing a lot of Truex. I think we already knew that entering the race, but just speaking out loud of why that is the case. And so, yeah, I'm probably going to have no Reddick today, which will probably be the first, probably big stand that I'm taking versus the field. I actually have, I haven't brought up the practice laps or anything yet. We'll do that in a second. I'm just kind of, as I said, I haven't made lineups, so I'm just actually talking through everything that I would typically look at and explaining the reasoning behind the projections that I have today. So when you look at like another guy that I'm kind of interested in, let me see where we're at here. So how do I hide? What do I do? I don't want to show the projections. Let's see. He's actually not showing up on a lot of stuff. I thought I'd end up having more Kyle Busch and higher projected lines. So, like, Kyle's interesting. When you're looking at Kyle Busch and the lack of ownership that we're probably going to have on him in this race, makes me at least want to have 15 or at least 3 of my 20 lines having him and stuff. I like this consistency. We haven't necessarily seen this from Busch through this entirety of last year. It was very much up and down. Anyway, that's kind of the other thing I was thinking of. Hold on. Let's go ahead and bring this up on the screen. Let's just build, or not build, but like let's actually look at the builds here. So I haven't done this yet either, so I don't know how salaries are going to plan out. Okay, cool. So this is my assumption just in my head as I was like assuming what things would look like today, with regardless of who you're using. We'll just use like the 2 most expensive guys for this example. 64. I mean, this is why I assume that I'm going to have a lot of Chris Buescher. And I'm guessing the field is going to have a lot of them compared to, or when we look at what he did last weekend. Now, typically, when I'm building lineups, as I've shown in previous stuff, the playing as many guys up front, not that that was like a bad thing to do, but it didn't pan out for me the way I wanted it to at, I believe, Dover. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is I would be very hesitant if we're including, where's Truex? So Truex is in 10th. If we're including, Truex Hamlin, Larson, and or Busher, I would probably want to max 3 of these guys in each line. I'm very hesitant on playing 4, and you might be like, well, you can't fit, Larson, Hamlin, and Truex in there as well. But like, even if you're like wanting to use like potentially Gibbs in that range, if you're not wanting to, if you're using one of Larson and or Hamlin, but you might be getting to like Bubba, Chastain, I would be very hesitant on playing a lot of guys in the top 10 today. Just due to the fact that I think this is a race to where attrition is gonna be a pretty big factor, and the attrition rate of the guys in the top 10 are probably gonna be higher, or not higher, but, uh, I think attrition's the wrong word. I think the not even volatile nature. The guys who can run the issues are probably gonna be the guys in the top 10 today. So, like, that's a major concern, at least for me, speaking out loud. When I look at, like, where I'm at in terms of other plays, I'm assuming that people are gonna be getting to Alex Bowman. He's 8,000, right price next to Chris Buescher, so either, pivot off of him or playing them together. Um, and I think for the most part, a lot of guys I think we're gonna mainly be in the 7K range today with a lot of our lineups. Like, Gregson's a great play, you know, as stated, we're not really concerned. Now, I mean, when we're looking at the speeds that, good old Noe showed, we're looking quite poor. I mean, clearly this is not what you want to see, but I mean, this looks decent. And like SHR just all qualified like ass. Like, it's not a concern here. And I've mentioned before that, I mean, we have Barry here, we have Noah here. I mean, Priest is starting, 26, but luckily we don't necessarily need to use him as like the sole like place differential foundation of the lineups. Um, Noah has shown that he can get through the field if he starts in the back. Josh Berry has shown he can get through the field if he starts in the back. And not even getting through the field. I mean, these guys are at 7,000 and 6,700 each. Like, we get Gregson, close to 35 points. Perfectly fine. Same thing with like Josh Berry. Not like the 35 points needed, but an expectation that he'll have passed at least, 10, 12 guys in this race. Pretty sure. Yeah, 67. Yeah, I mean, so as I kind of just look through these lines really fast. So I got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So yeah, I mean, my stuff just loves Busher. It's wanting me to play a lot of Busher. Loves Gregson, loves Barry, loves Bowman, which is understandable because I'm so high on the expensive boys up top, and everything like that. Okay, let's see the questions. Let's see, or we can look at like practice data and stuff. Now, granted, we're primarily wanting to look knee deep or pretty deep in the run here. When it comes to Larson, when it comes to Kyle Busch, when it comes to Elliott, also, I mean, I forgot Elliott's in the back of the field as well. I'll just be frank. I got Elliott projected for 48 points today. That's 4.9 value. He is working in situations to where we have issues with guys up front. So if you're building lineups with Elliott, just keep that in mind. That's very much a situation to where or very much a 1v1 situation of like if you have Larson and Hamlin and you're like, well, what if one of these guys runs the issue? Then you just replace him with Elliott. When we're looking at how the pricing would end up working out in a situation where somebody struggles up top, that's where Elliott fits in here. But when we're looking at these guys down here, I mean, yeah, sure, they didn't run, long runs like these fellows are, but we can very easily figure out where these guys would probably end up being. Like, Larson still has probably the best car here when we're looking at the top of the rankings compared to where, Larson is. Yeah, sure, he's not here in the 20 lap, 25 lap runs, but we can see his fall off, compared to somebody like who's going to have, like, we can compare him to Reddick and stuff. I mean, when we're looking here, I mean, it's truly significantly faster. Like, when we're looking at like a place like Darlington, to where the fall off is so big over these laps and stuff, this is where, a lot of this data, it won't be like invalidated and stuff, but it really depends if you were in traffic, if you had a bad corner, whatever the case may be. Like, when we're looking at these practice laps, like, this is why I like typically looking at these more, especially at a track like this, and you can easily look at the drastic fall off between the start of the runs and the end of the runs for these guys. I mean, we're running like almost an average of 10 miles per hour slower deep in these runs. Even if you're fast cars, you're still just stupid fast. But like Larson got in traffic here. I know Byron entered the pits and then got stuck. So he enters the pits here, and then he gets stuck in traffic. I think I removed another one of his laps that was slow. Like here's a great example of like Bell. You know, I took off his first lap across the line because it was slow, probably in traffic or getting around somebody. Which these numbers aren't even playing into where his average is. But like slow lap, real speed, you know, in traffic or some situation that made it the slow lap, in speed again. So like even when you're looking at the lap by lap stuff, I mean, this is like Hemrick. Like, is Hemrick really going to be like this significant? Like, not even fast. Like, I mean, he's up here based on average, but you can like clearly see, like, just right off the trailer, this guy is like 4 miles per hour slower compared to like real cars. So for me, it just goes back to really aligning with what people have done here and trying to build accordingly to that. And I apologize, this is less than like my usual quality, but I just haven't been able to build lines yet at all, and so that's what we're entering this with. But let's see what you guys are saying here. Let's go on BVP 09. I did not play UFC. I haven't watched anything, so I have no idea what happened there. I just know entering the week it was like a very much GPP related slate because there's a lot of underdogs who had a high potential to work out and stuff. What's going on, Dave? So let's see. Right now, when I look at my top 300 lines, I probably don't have a lot of Elliott so far, but that is due to the fact that I'm trying to get 2 of Truex, Hamlin, and Larson in every line. If I start chasing just one of those guys and playing more like Keselowski, even people like Bowman, Blaney, guys that are significantly cheaper, I'll probably end up getting more. So like just with Elliott, I'm probably going to end up falling in line at like probably 8 to 6 lines, probably 98. Yeah, I'll probably end up like, so what would that be, like 35, 40% personally to Elliott? That's probably where I'm going to be at. Like I said, I mean, I'm just going to absolutely slam Larson, Hamlin, and Truex. So we're just going to keep on that. I'm still just aiming to have these top guys in these races, especially Larson. Let's see what else we got going on. Oh, that's good, Sterling. At least I was about to say. I mean, I don't know where the field's going to come in at, dude. Ownership is yet again just like crazy. So like last week, you know, we were all kind of spread out outside the top, or at the top rather. And then we like look at a situation like yesterday, or actually these races here were both like, and these aren't situations to where they are good plays or bad plays, and this isn't a situation of like where I'm bitching and moaning, because I'm sure everybody's like, well, you know, I would have smashed in the truck race, but my guys got wrecked. I would have smashed yesterday, but you know, Byron had a tire go down. Like, I don't like, those discussions are fucking stupid. But very, very interesting that, you know, Byron's in the 70s. You know, Nemechek is just as high owned. Like that's wicked wild, man. Because all, you know, projection sources were very much expecting ownership to like be capped at like 50, 55. Another situation to where what's up, just speaking out loud, what was funneling so many people to those plays? You know, is that optimizers? Is that people actively choosing to go overweight on the chalk? Overweight because it's place differential stuff. I mean, hell, I had like 85% of both those guys, you know, and that was barely over the field. And so, I don't know, man. We're still in a new age of NASCAR ownership that is very interesting to think about. And so anyway, when we're looking at like Elliott or where ownership's going to come in a day at, like, do I even need to bother looking at ownership projections and stuff? I don't know. Anyway, back to Sterling also being on the same point of view as me with Reddick. Yeah, I'm just not going to play Reddick today. If I get fucked, I get fucked. I mean, he was the best car last year in the fall race, but that is the Southern 500. And was gonna make some, like, stupid comment about the weather, but that would just be me talking. That isn't even backed up by anything. It's just like, why would you not wanna play Larson, Hamlin, Truex here? Like, how are those guys, like, not in the top 4 all day? How is Busher, like, not in the top 5? Even Ty Gibbs can, like, maintain a ramp position in the top 7 a day. Like, also, like, I'm not gonna play Christopher Bell either. Like, I know I'm not playing any Bell. Um, so, like, that, when we're looking at where, salary is breaking down at, can't wait to just X out of this stupid thing. Um, where are we at in salary? So, like, if I'm removing Truex, or not Truex, if I'm removing, like, Reddick, he's 10-3. I remove Bell at 10,000. I have Hamlin, Larson, Byron, Truex as, like, the main expensive guys I'm paying up for. If I just default to 20% Byron just out of, sheer, like, default for me, then, like, yeah, then, like, I couldn't even afford Reddick or Bell anyway. I don't like, is that crazy? Like, why would we not just play the same guys we've been playing the last month, man? Just because we have more guys up front? Like, I don't know. Uh, these lineups seem, like, pretty easy to build today, because it would probably go like something like, Larson, Truex, then you go, like, Busher, Bowman. Then you get, like, whatever value play works in that, and probably whatever 6K guy works in that. Like, those are, like, the builds that I would assume we go to, and so, like, it makes a lot of these, like, drivers not unplayable, but, like, we're not affording, we don't have any money to get to, like, people like Logano. Um, we're not getting to Hocevar. We're not getting to Austin Dillon at 63. Dude, let me do something on the side here. We might have actually less players in the pool than I, like, actually think we do. So, like, thinking out loud, like, let me do this over here, because as I think things, let's see, let me get the salary. All right. I got that. I got that. Let me get the value number as well. All right. Okay, so what I'm doing right now, as you can see, I've added my sheet 12 over here that you sadly cannot see, but like, as I'm, like, thinking through, as I'm talking out loud, as I'm doing my usual lineup thing, and just, like, looking at how builds and lineups would go, I'm like, dude, how many guys do I actually have projected to, like, hit value today? Not that that's, like, the deciding factor, but there might be, like, fucking, like, 13 guys that you could, like, realistically play if you're paying up for people. If you're playing, um, like, Gregson, Barry, Bowman, Busher, like, these fellows here, like, you can only go so many certain places that are actually viable. And so what I did was I went ahead and just took my projections, um, took the value, and then just ranked them of, like, who's actually hitting value today? Who do I have actually projected to, like, actually do something here? And so those individuals are, we have where we at? Where you at, White Power? White Power Larson is 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so we have these 11 guys on my stuff that would realistically have a chance of hitting value today. And you might be like, well, that Gillen is pretty aggressive. I mean, I don't think it's that wild. I mean, that's not a fantastic play, and he has a real chance of getting priced out of things. But, you know, I'm not using it because of this, but mainly because I mean, these are just horrific races. But he has been finishing pretty. Actually, let me check that as well. Let's look at Gillen's actual finishes here. 14th last weekend. Let's see. Gonna need help. Certainly gonna need help to maintain that position. But anywho, I mean, that's not necessarily the important part. I mean, realistically, we're not playing Gillen. I just kept him in the top. I actually gave him like 17th or something today. Let me see. I gave Gillen, where are we at? Yeah, I gave him 17th. So if he does any less than that, he's not very viable. But that's not the point of what I'm doing here. This is like where are we at in the pool? Like how many guys can we realistically see playing and being used and stuff here? And like this is it. Everybody else is like on a fringe. Like Reddick has to like go out and lead a shitload of laps. Gibbs, Byron have to maintain a rim position up there and like get laps led and scrape off fast laps. Bubba Wallace has to like have a phenomenal run. Kyle Busch, Bell, like we're not, at least for me, I don't know if I can even afford Briscoe at 68 because I'd rather just play Gregson. I'd rather just get to Priest. I'd rather just get to Barry. So like McDowell starting right where he should be in this race. Suarez has been atrocious. Stenhouse is most likely going to finish like 17th, 16th today. Doesn't really do anything price wise and stuff. So like just talking through and look at that's probably why I have such condensed ownership on people, just because I don't have a lot of guys projected to even be near value. And then even past these guys, like the next guys are on the fringe of like Kyle Busch, Suarez, Stenhouse, Elliott. So like, dude, realistically, this pool today might be like 17 guys, man. 17 out of the 36 cars. Probably smaller than normal, or at least from where I'm at. Speaking out loud, that's probably where we're at. Let's see where we're at here. Always favor. Okay, well I think that's speaking very broadly, Jake. Also, Jake, not a good thing, not a bad thing. Just speaking, I see your name in a lot of live streams. I think I see you in like every live stream, man. Asking questions. What's going on, Yellow? We'll make the mistake if forwards are fast in practice, which look, man, I mean, if people are making those mistakes, they're like, whatever, bro. Regardless of how accurate this data is, if it helps you or not, whatever. I mean, I use it, but like if people are like, man, them forwards are fast, like they might just not actually be watching these races at all. Like they might just be some sim bros. Who knows, dude? I mean, just speaking out loud, like I think we should be playing Blaney at 9,000. I mean, 45 points. Most of the time, he's probably going to hit anywhere between 43 to 47 if he lucks into the lead at some point. I mean, Blaney is a top 7 car practically. I mean, yes, they have fallen off. Now, this is an argument to like, oh, we got to play Blaine. But just speaking out loud, like, I mean, I want Blaine exposure. I did it last week, did it here. Probably going to continue whenever there's pricing discrepancies here. That's why it's so wild that like Reddick wasn't played when he was like $8,000. But like now, he was like 22% last week. Probably gonna be played today. Like that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Let's see. Byron, I mean, it just the flat, 20-25 ownership. I mean, Byron has been pretty horrible at this point with what I'm like this is horrendous. This is absolutely horrendous. Clearly been stepped over by Truex, by Hamlin and stuff. But I mean, nobody's gonna play Byron like last week with like Chastain and stuff. I mean, Chastain came at like 10% ownership. All you do is get like 20 and you're already double the field. You don't even have to do anything. Let's see. So yeah, like I mean the Stenhouse thing. Like I said, I do apologize that I haven't made any lineups myself, so this might just be making more cases. Like this could be a real situation. Like when I actually make lineups, or my submitted lineups might actually be drastically different from my opinions here, just because I haven't built anything yet. But like this is where Stenhouse is, very much like very very much on the fringe of a top 15. But when you look at the issues that we run into Stenhouse, like 16th last weekend, 35th, 23rd, 29th, 33rd, 29th, 33rd, 21st. in a race where he started 20th, 17th at Las Vegas when he started 13th. Yeah, like wicked, 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 wicked time fantasy wise, man. It's been a disastrous time for Stenhouse fantasy, and I haven't had much Stenhouse. At least I don't think I have. He has been winning a lot of people money in these races, but for whatever reason, it's been running into issues. Just can't finish stuff. Anyways, just speaking of like man, I don't know. Stenhouse is a tough sell, man. He's got to be like finishing up here today, which I don't think he can. Let's see. My worry about Gillen is him running along and end up 3. Yeah, okay. So I mean, since the main thing that has helped the Cup Series guys. Now these guys are also dumb as fuck when it comes to strategy. Like we all know that. Like last week with Truex, who cares if he finished like 4th or whatever? Why would you take 4 tires on a green white checkered? But the Cup Series has been much smarter from when Chastain ran stage 1 long several years ago. I don't think it was last year. It may have been 2021. I don't think it was the COVID year. May have been the year afterwards. Anyway, Stenhouse runs long in stage 1 in one of these races and ends up being lapped, ends up being the first car lapped, and then completely loses track position in that race or in that situation. And then we've had LaJoy also run long at Darlington specifically, and it has absolutely cucked him. And so I think because none of the big boys are doing that, um, now, the whole thing of staying out long to possibly get a yellow is, I would argue, more viable at these other 1.5s just because the fall off isn't as significant. Like when you're deep into a long run, you are seconds off the pace, and you are giving up a tremendous amount of laps. And I don't think they're going to be that stupid to do that in this race. And so I'm not very concerned about like Gillen running long all day and then just getting fucked because he stays out long. I'm more concerned about him just getting past one like 19th and doing nothing there all day because at that point, like that lineup is dead as fuck. So like because we're gonna have to go in the 5K range at somewhere. I'm probably gonna have a shitload of Harrison Burton. We haven't even talked about where I'm at in the 5K range. I don't even know where I'm at. Let me see what my stuff is saying over here. When I look at that, so it's Priest, it's Gillen. I mean, because I haven't predicted like 17th, and then it's Harrison Burton. So like it's literally just that. Also because I mean Haley's starting 28th. Realistically, finishes 28th, 29th, 27th, 30th, whatever. Bad DFS day. Same thing with Hemrick. I mean, now Hemrick had worked out at Dover because he got that yellow. But I typically, when you're building lineups, you're gonna end up just lucking into that stuff. Like if you're building Hemrick specifically because he runs long here, or he's run long and it's helped him out finish well, like I think that's a bad approach. Um, but in terms of like Kraus is starting 32nd, he can only lose 4 positions. Harrison Burton starts second to last. Like those are the two probably anchor points you would want in your lineup, or if you need min salary like Grala's 34th. Like I don't see a real reason to like be playing LaJoy at 24th, Zane Smith at 27th, So like 5K range just to me seems like Gillen if he maintains running position, Harrison Burton, um, Kraus or Grala. Like I just don't think you need to go anywhere else here. Let's see. I'm also not playing any Eric Jones. I'm just probably not going to. I'd much rather play Noah Gragson for cheaper. I'd much rather play Chris Buescher, who can realistically win this event. I'm just probably not going to get to Eric Jones today at all. Let's see. No problem, Colts. I'm happy. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what Ford does, man. We'll certainly see. They got a lot to work on. Like Ford has been, Logano's been so interesting because he's been stuck in like 14th in all these races. I'm actually shocked at how bad Logano has been and how decent Blaney has been. Like Blaney's been able to like pass people and do stuff. Logano has literally just been trapped like 14th and 15th like every week this month. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that's where I'm at. Sorry if I'm not as helpful this way, but like yet again, like in the preview videos and stuff, like we're just playing the same guys who are fast, you know. Like I mean, like the Elliott thing. Elliott starts 31st, just thinking out loud, where are we at here? Starts 31st, realistically projecting for like 12th. So that is like you like give Elliott 12, and that's like right around like 46 points. Give him some fast laps and stuff, and he's right around like 48, 49 points. Where does that fall in line with where the lap leaders are, where the salary is, especially if Buescher and or Keselowski do something at their prices? Well, then it most likely forces it to where you just need one of the expensive guys between Larson, Hamlin, and Truex, unless they lead a lot. But if you're building, like, if you're just speaking out loud, like, you would want to play a lot of Elliott if you're playing a lot of Brad Keselowski and Buescher. I mean, I know this is like duh, of course, but like just speaking out loud, like that's a situation you'd probably want to play Elliott, and that's a situation where you would probably want to play quite a lot of Ryan Blaney as well, since you don't need the salary to go up to Truex, Hamlin, and Larson in a situation where like Keselowski and Buescher are there all day. Those are the situations that I have been playing a lot of Blaney in, situations to where I think it's a cheaper lap leader or one lap leader, whatever the case may be. That's what I've done at like the last couple of weeks with Blaney and Logano, which is why I've paid so much attention to just to how Logano's been like stuck in track. Like he cannot do anything. Anyway, what else we got here? Okay, I mean, like, bro, who gives a fuck about the Fords, man? Like that's such a waste of time, dude. I mean, Keselowski, Buescher. To be frank, I forget they're even in Fords. I don't even pay attention to manufacturers. I don't. That it doesn't. It. All I'm saying is I like Buescher. I didn't realize that. I've been talking this whole time and I'm like, I didn't even realize Keselowski and Buescher are in fucking Fords. Because you know what? I don't even look at that stuff. I'm just like, Buescher has been like Buescher's getting there. He's $7,800. Like holy fucking Toledo, guys. I think you want to have Buescher today. I mean, he's like that Kansas speed was real, you know. They're certainly getting better. Like they started the year off poorly. Okay. Even like practice, like when you compared like practice laps earlier in the year compared to what they're doing now, which I could probably go ahead and look at all the stuff really fast, but like this is not what we were seeing from Buescher early in the year. Is Keselowski staying out long? Like this is not what we were seeing from Keselowski. You know what they were doing earlier in the year? Dude, Keselowski and Buescher would get like, actually, let's go ahead and look. Why not? Before I start yapping and getting stuff wrong, let's go ahead and take a gander at all these Cup Series races. So Cup Series at Kansas, Cup Series at Las Vegas, Cup Series at Dover, I'm assuming. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just see. So we have Kansas. We have Las Vegas. What else am I looking for? We have I moved this stuff yet? We have Dover. We have, I don't really want to look at the other short tracks. Where's Vegas at? Let's see. Also, like, this is what I mean. So, like, if you, at least for me, whenever I look back at my stuff, like, I have my shit going back like 2020, dude. At least on this account. But I'm like, man, dude, I really want to. Who did I play in the fucking Cup Series at Darlington and fucking like way back when? What race is this? Let's see. Was I even tracking shit then? No, I just did one line, lame. Anywho, let's go ahead and just look at Vegas. So what I'm doing here is I just want to see if there's been an increase in the amount of laps that these two baboons have done. So Busher early into practice, okay. Where's Keselowski? Where's Big Bad Brad? Yeah, Brad early into practice. Okay, so like right off the bat, Las Vegas, we're like, bro, man, we are fucking struggling. All right, then we went to, I don't even know what the order is. Let's see. Las Vegas, Texas as well. Did we? I'm missing Texas. Where are we at, Texas? Cup Series at Texas. So we go to Texas, right? I don't even remember the order. Anyway, let's see. How long are they doing? Are they running long runs or short runs? And Keselowski calls it an end early because the car is fucking dog shit. We look at Busher and call it an end early. Okay, so just thinking out loud, thinking or from what I remembered, this is why I went to go look at this truly because I was like, I might be talking out of my ass. But so far through Las Vegas and Texas, we have seen that RFK was like they weren't running a lot of laps. They were not happy with the cars. That's a great indication that they're working on the cars and stuff like that. As we continue to go along, what is the next race? We got Dover. So let's see where they're at Dover. Okay, so we got Busher slightly closer with the field now, not as drastically short. Keselowski is still short though, still not happy. And then we went to Kansas, no, Texas. We already looked at that. So we went to Kansas. So we see, with hindsight being 2020, understand that Busher ends up having to either be late weather, whatever. Let's see, he ran quite longer here, or if they called it earlier. So still shorter compared to other guys, but certainly a lot longer than what they were doing at the other 1.5s in practice. So like that is improvement. We see Brad go long, which that's like, when we're just looking at this data, like, whoa, dude, he's running way longer than he did at other intermediates. Maybe they're happy with their cars. Maybe they're working on stuff. And then we're seeing that like, oh, wow, yeah, you know what? RFK is no longer ass. Like they opened the year, like they might actually be happier with their cars. Then when you look at what they did this weekend, did they run long? Did they not run long? And we see like, hey, man, they're running long, Now you have to at Bristol, but like even like, the Hendrick boys, White Power and like Test Tube, Ricky Hendrick, like those guys both pulled off to make adjustments to where as you have the RFK guys out here running long, quite happy with their car. And so like, oh man, like I haven't even heard about the new motor or whatever for Ford, whatever. I frankly don't give a shit about that type of stuff. But like I just viewed it as like, hey man, you know what? Like RFK is like they're probably trending back up. When we look at everything with like hindsight and everything, like it would make sense that like you probably want to play Chris Buescher today. Okay, that's how we worked all our way back there. So like, who gives a fuck if they have the Ford emblem or whatever? I think Buescher's a good play. Keselowski, whatever. You take it, do whatever you want there. I mean, he's 92. Like you have to build lineups specifically for him, but like Buescher just fits in the lines. Like, why would we not play Buescher, man? That's that. Penske's a whole nother discussion that I don't even want to bother with, because it's Blaney or nothing. It's like Nerf or nothing. You want the place differential that Blaney potentially offers, play him. If not, I mean, whatever. But like I think Buescher's a good play. Bowman over Buescher. I mean, it's whatever you want to do, brother. It's whatever you want to do, AJ. You got to make that decision. I can't. I think both are perfectly fine plays. Bowman is another example. So, like, yet again, that's why, when you look at where Bowman has been, certainly last year and opening the year, like Bowman has gotten better. Okay. Bowman is no longer like in a drastically different zip code compared to where the other Hendrick guys are. Bowman is very much there. He's $8,000. Likelihood that we start seeing him start outperforming that price. And realistically, he probably starts running more races inside the top 10 than he had been. So, like I would just play both. Straight up to your question, I would just play both. I would play both Bowman and Busher together. But like real chance, like Bowman is one of the guys who can very easily clear value in this race. Starting 18th, 8,000. We're looking at right where he's at. Yet again, haven't really focused on this type of stuff or like on these averages and stuff. But like, let's just take a quick look where Bowman is. Okay, so that's fine. I'm fine with that. Runs decently. Let's compare him with Larson to see where we're at. Pretty identical speeds. Also, this is another situation where I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Larson was in a different practice group compared to Byron. So let's take a look really fast to confirm that, to trash on these stupid ass discussions about different groups. So let's go ahead. We have, let's see. Yeah, so William Byron was in Group A and Kyle Larson was in Group B. Okay, so how drastically different is the conditions of the two groups between identical cars? Holy Toledo, they're the same. Fast cars are going to be fast. And this is not being like, let's play Byron. This is just be like, oh man, what about the opening group? Group A is faster. Group A is slower. Group B is faster. Group B is, it does like the car, where cars are going to line up at, brother. You know where we're at. Like we got these two idiots. We got Byron. Let's move this off. We got Byron and Larson in different groups, practically running identical times, man. I mean, we're right around the same times. Like, oh boy, I'm like rambling too much. Anywho, I think that's about probably where we need to probably start thinking about ending the stream. Where I stand, I still think you need two of Larson, Hamlin, Truex. I would implore you to do that. I don't think that's stupid at all. I think Busher is very viable today. I'd probably have him probably 55% of my lines. I like Bowman. I like Gregson. I like Barry. I like, I guess those are probably like the main guys that I would just like right off the bat. I'm personally not going to play Truex, or not Truex. I'm personally not going to play Reddick. I'm not going to play Bell. I'm not going to play Jones. I think those are my main takes, and I think that's how I'm going to do my lines today. Let me just check the chat again before I leave, before I skedaddle. Favorite 6K driver. I don't even know who's in the 6K range. Let me look. $6K driver would be raw projections wise. It likes Stenhouse, and then Cindric. Probably those two drivers. It'd probably be Stenhouse and Cindric. I don't know if I would want to get there. I think I'd probably just prefer going to the 5K range. But those would be the two guys I'd use in the 6K range, most likely. And then, yeah, so like, yes, I guess we could talk Cindric here. So this is where Cindric is, Cindric has certainly gotten better than he was at the end of at the midsection of last year or whatever. And we're seeing that Cindric is finishing. Let's see where he's at in terms of DraftKings raw points. 37th last weekend. Okay, stellar job. Dover starts 11th, finishes 15th. Absolutely horrendous day for DFS. That is a solid 24 points, which is dead on arrival there. Texas starts 11th, finishes 19th, 16 points DraftKings wise. Absolutely another horrendous day. Las Vegas starts 3rd, finishes 29th. negative 13 points at a $7,000 price tag. So he has been absolutely god awful DraftKings wise, real life wise, pretty decent finishes. So when he starts 25th, we can very easily project him to finish around 18th, 17th, most likely. Let's go ahead and see what the projections give us here. And I think I already have him projected in that range anyway, but let's take a look. I have Austin Cindric projected to finish 19th today. Looking at any potential fast laps or laps led, he might get in addition to that. I got Cindric walking away with a solid, sturdy 29 DraftKings points today, 4.6 value. Bump that up a little bit more. Say he finishes 18th, 19th. You're very much in motion with Cindric. So I think Cindric is very much in play today. 6K range is going to be quite difficult to get to. The real thing is it Cindric or Priest today? That is the real discussion. Okay, that is because these two guys are identical plays. Okay, identical plays. Okay, so when we're looking at Priest versus here, we'll just keep these. We'll go to Las Vegas last year. We'll make this Cindric because I still think he's in the Menards car. And then I'll put Priest in the Mahindra car or the Haas Automotive Red. Okay, so this is where we're at specifically between Cindric and Priest. Okay, so we have seen we've seen SHR be able to pass the field or be able to pass cars when they start in the back. We've understood that Penske has been struggling. Okay, both four camps, so like that doesn't matter. Both these individual drivers are horrendous and shouldn't even be in the Cup Series, so remove that factor away. What has Priest been doing DFS wise? Now he has been in this range of just where he's at in the best car. So like head to head, it would be Cindric here. But let's take a gander at what Priest has been able to do. 28th last week, 37th Dover, 12th at Texas, 23rd at Las Vegas. So head to head, I think that's probably why my stuff liked Priest more because I probably couldn't. I'm assuming that a lot of these lines can't get up to Cindric. What I got these guys projected for here. So I have Cindric projected for 29 points. I have Ryan Priest projected for 30.9. Not 39, 30.9. So the projections are practically identical as well. I don't have a lean on either one of these guys outside of like everything I just said there. I think Priest and Cindric are very much in play, either by their lonesomes or together. That's really my opinion on both of those guys there. At least in 6K range, since I was asked about that. Anyway, I do believe that is it. Thank you for being here. We're here for a solid practically an hour. Like I said, I'm sorry I did not pre-make lineups. I typically don't like doing live shows when I haven't physically made lineups yet. But this is basically all the thoughts I would have entering personally building lines, and kind of walk you through my how I would approach things and everything like that. So anyway, best of luck, guys, and I will talk to you later. So bye-bye and good luck today. See ya.